Sinclair. It's time for that VidBlaster, guys. A great show today. We've got the new Playout controller that we're going to be talking about. It's going to be a ton of fun. Stick around. Hey, welcome. Boy, what a day. What a week. What difference a week makes. Just last week we were talking about, oh yeah, version 3.19 should be coming down the pike in 24 hours maybe, and with it might be the Playout controller. And I missed that guess. It wasn't 24 hours, but it did come out yesterday. So this is big news. This is big news on the VidBlaster front because version 3 has not had a playlist ability. The last playlist ability in VidBlaster was version 2.33. And anyway, it's exciting stuff. So that's the big news, and we're going to get into that very deeply in just a second. But first, I want to, again, extend congratulations to our November VidBlaster giveaway winners. Because every week in November, except Thanksgiving week where we skipped, but we caught up on that, we gave away a copy of VidBlaster, the home edition, and Bob from Maine got one, Timothy from California got one, Greg from Texas got one, and Rob from Michigan got one. So that was really cool. And since then, we've also added, since last week, we've also added a couple of VidBlaster guys to our list. We welcome Jan from Sweden. And Steve from Ohio. So welcome, new VidBlaster guys. That's really fun. The new Playout module. Oh wow, what this is something that we've been waiting for, and I even got into trouble for telling people that wanted to buy VidBlaster, don't buy version 3 yet if you need playlist because it's not there, and I caught a lot of heat from all over for that. But it's worth waiting for. Now, last week we said we thought the Playout module was coming. I keep calling it playlist because that's what the old one was. But we thought the Playout module was coming. I thought it was coming within 24 hours, but I was wrong. It came out yesterday. And you can get it. I know you want to know where to get it. You can get it by going to the VidBlaster forum, forum.vidblaster.com, go into the download sections, and clicking on the one for 3.19, and that will get you to where you can download it. Now make sure you read. I know you guys and you gals. I know what you're like. You're like, oh, I just want to go look at it. I want to go do it. You need to take a second and read through what's going on that page, and make sure that if you've been using version 2, actually this is not on the page, but I'm going to throw this warning out right now. If you have a license for version 2 and you install version 3, it could make things a little squirrely, and you might be forced to make an upgrade or revert back to version 2. Now, that's not a problem as long as you've got your version 2 activation code. Ooh, where is that? Well, if you don't remember and you need some help, shoot me an email where it is right there, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com, and we'll work you through that. But what you don't want to do is find yourself, like you've painted yourself into a corner for some reason, and the only way you can get out is to make an upgrade because you didn't save, like you were supposed to, your activation key. Now, you're also supposed to save your product key. Remember, the product key is what you get when you buy VidBlaster, but then when you activate the product, you get another key for that specific computer that only works with that computer. Now, you can install VidBlaster, if you've got a personal license, you can install it on more than one PC, so long as it's only you using it and you're not using it on multiple PCs at the same time. But each PC would have its own unique activation key, and they would all have the same product key. Confused? Shoot me an email. We'll fix it. We'll get it straight. But don't upgrade don't upgrade on a PC where you've got a licensed version until you're straight about what's going on with that. And I can help you straighten that out. Now, if it's a PC that doesn't have VidBlaster on it, by all means, go ahead. Lay it on there and see. And when you download the trial edition, that's the same thing as the studio edition. So you can go to vidblaster.com and look at the comparison chart and see what features are offered in the different editions. Now, so far as we know so far, how is that for a good one? So far as I know so far, the Playout controller is definitely available in the broadcast edition. I verified that. It's available in the studio edition because it's in the trial edition. And David Stemper confirmed today that it's available in the Pro edition. So we're not sure yet as to whether it's available in the home edition. I think it probably is because the original playlist was a home edition feature, but haven't confirmed that yet. Perhaps somebody out there that's watching live right now that has the home edition and a version 3 edition and would like to update to version 3.19 can do that and get in the forum, in the chat, and let us know. You got the little chat link right there. Whoops, right there, and you can open that. It's best to open the chat in a new window, and that way you can get it out of the way and move it around. That's what I like to do. The Playout controller. Okay, if you haven't seen anything yet, this is what it looks like. Whoops, let's get that out of the way. It is, it's pretty simple. You've got 3 menus in the File menu. You've got File, which allows you to do a load. And what it's talking about here is you can actually, you can save a Playout profile or playlist or whatever we're going to call it. Not quite sure about the terminology yet. So I've actually saved a couple of them today, and I'll load one right now so you can see. And let me pull that window over so you can see what that looks like. And I want to load a playlist. Where did it save the playlists, I wonder? Boy, I need to find those because I'm going to be in trouble because that's where I saved them earlier. Let's go up. Sorry about this, folks. You know, we're going behind the scenes immediately to see all the different kinds of things that are going on here. Let's go there. Maybe that's not where I wanted to go. Well, golly gee. It's pulled up one of the file names that I've used before, but it's got something called playlists, and that's what we're looking for. And I've saved them somewhere, but I haven't saved them where I thought they were. Save games, videos. Well, we'll just have to come back to that. So if you know where they are, we can do a save as. That'll tell us where they are. They are. Looks like they're on the desktop. Okay, so let's go back to File, Load. Why did they get saved to the desktop? Probably because I inadvertently said that's where I wanted to go. Okay, let's see. Computer, C drive, users, Silverstone, desktop. There we go. There we are. Now we're all good now. So we're going to go to the 5-file demo. And whoops, it moved my playlist when I do that. So let's move it back where you guys can see it. And you can see the playlist is now populated with some files. And we'll get to those I will do it right now. The first column right here is a status column. And in the status column, it tells you whether a file is actively playing, whether that file should be skipped, something you can choose, or whether in the sequence of files, that file should be the one to mark, hey, go back to the beginning. And we can do that by just simply clicking in the box. One click, the little down arrow means skip this file. I'm going to click it again. That gives me an up arrow, which means loop back to the start. I'll click it one more, it should go blank. When it's playing, it'll have a little right-sided triangle pointing to the right to indicate that this is the active file being played. The second column here is the start time. And you can see this start time here of 2:12:09, 2:12:10, 2:12:11. That matches the current time down here. So if I were to press start, that would be the current start time. And all these other times you can see are adjusted by the duration of the video file. So my first video file is only 15 seconds. I didn't want to force you guys to listen to long things in order to show the transition between them. But 16 seconds is the exact difference between that time and that time. And then 15 seconds between that and that, 13, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the numbers here are simply, that is my file name. My file name is actually 1.mpg. And it was just easier for me to do it that way. Now let's go back into File. Let's clear this out. Oops. Do I want to clear the playlist? It brought a little menu up. There it is. And I'm going to say yes. So we're going to clear it out. And we'll come back and load that back in just a minute. But this is the way it comes up when it's done. Play obviously allows you to play and stop. Player says which player do you want me to play through? I've got 3 players available, 1, 3, and 4, and I'm telling it to use player 4 because that's the one that is available right now to be used for the Playout controller. So let's go into description. Description is actually probably not the best name for this little section, I don't think, because if you right-click right there in that blue box, you get this really cool menu that allows you to do 6 different things. You can add a command, which would be an API command or an API call on the macro function, and you have to have the Studio Edition or the Broadcast Edition to be able to use this. You can add a file, excuse me, just like you would add a file in a player. And you can add a folder like the old playlist. So you can, all the contents of the folder that are playable files will be added. You can delete whatever's in here. You can insert a command. So if you've got a list of 5 or 6 different files and you want to insert something between the others, you can do that there, or you can insert a file. So let's start out by just adding a file. And we're going to go bring that menu back in. Let's go to our video files. So my videos, and we'll go to the Playout controller videos, and you can see these are the 6 videos. Well, these are the 5 videos, or 6 videos that I've got, and I can click on one of them, and we can put it right in here. Oops, it loaded 3 of them. Well, that's interesting. Buy 1, get 2 free. I think that's a bug. Okay, let's clear it out and let's see what happens again. I want to clear? Yes, I want to clear. I want to right-click there, add a file, and bring that menu in so you can see it. This time we'll add number 2, and you see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see what happens here. I add 2 twice and then number 3 once. Well, needless to say, that's not the way it's supposed to be. So let's clear that out. And yes. And let's add a folder and see what happens there. So we'll bring in the little dialog box right there. And we've just basically got the list of all the folders. I'm going to have my Playout controller videos folder right here. So we're going to add that whole folder. I'll click OK. And now I have it populated with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different videos. And again, these numbers here are simply the numbers that I gave the video when I recorded it. Now we can go in and edit that, and I can simply make that the first video and edit the others accordingly. But I'm not going to do that. There's no sense in doing that. I can also take the files. Number 2 here is kind of highlighted in blue, and I can put it after number 3. Whoops, let's try again. Well, I could do it earlier. There we go. And it moved positions. 3 is now in front of number 2, and then 4, 5, and 6. And I can take 6 and put it before number 2. so that I can rearrange these to my heart's content. With the old playlist, you have to actually get your file names in that alphanumeric order and get them to appear the way you wanted them played out. So now you don't have to do that. You can order them any way you want to, and they will play to your heart's content like that. So that's a good thing. Let's go back over to our Playout module. And I can, let's see if number 2, I don't want it anymore. I'm going to delete it. It pops up a dialog box. It says, do you wish to delete number 2? Excuse me. And yes, I do. So out goes number 2. So I can add a file, I can add a folder, I can delete one, I can insert a command, I can insert a file. Let's insert a file. We're going to insert it right there. It's given us a blank line, and it brought up a box for us to choose. Let's put number 2 back in there just for the sake of argument, and so we can add it in there. If I went to number 6 and I said insert a file, it would put a blank line in front of number 6, and it would pop open a window and allow me to put in another file. And yes, you can put in one file more than once. So number 5 would play twice. Now, one of the things that I've learned so far, and it's kind of interesting. Obviously, this is 3.19 is a beta. It is the first beta for the Playout controller. And, you know, VidBlaster is really cool. One of the ways that Mike Versteeg has chosen to manage the whole VidBlaster project is to put a lot of it out there in the public domain where people can see it and play with it and touch it. And he acknowledges when he does that it's a beta. Play with it at your own risk. You know, if you want to use it for a production, like we're using 3.19 today for this production, I just downloaded it this morning, and hopefully it's not going to go crazy and bomb out. But it's a beta. If that happens, we understand. You know, betas are experimental versions, versions that have to be tested. So be judicious in your use of this, and know that, again, this is the first beta for the Playout controller. Not everything's going to work right, but the basic framework is here, and is really, really exciting stuff. Let's see. Let's go back to our controller, and let's clear the playlist. And let's try something else. I'm going to X out of the playlist, and I'm going to add it back. I don't know if that'll make any difference. And it's not a playlist, it's the Playout module. Sorry about that. And let's add one file and see if we just get the one file or if we get multiple files. We'll add number 2 just for the sake of argument. Yeah, and we're getting 2, 3, and 5. So for some reason, we're having a problem. Let's load, and we'll navigate back to the desktop. File demo, and that moves our controller around. Not sure why it does that. That should be a bug, a minor one. Let's see if we add a file at this point, if we get multiple files added. And we want to go to my videos. This part needs a little work. And let's add number 1 right here. Is 1 the only thing added? Yes, 1 was the only thing added. So it may be when you just have one file here that it gives you some extras for unknown reasons. I doubt if that's an intended feature. Okay, so let's clear this one more time, and let's load our profile, and let's show you. Enough of this chit chat. Let's watch it in work, shall we? Let's see. Let's go back to the desktop and file demo, and adjust this back where you can see it. And in order to make it play, I've got a play command here, and under the play command are the options of play and stop. Now, let me just pull in for a second my player. I can't pull it over there. Well, that's interesting. Let's see if I can just do this for a second. I'm just extending my desktop over there. This player is player 4. It's the one that we're using for the Playout module. And when I tell the Playout module to play, this player will begin to play. The red light here will illuminate if I have, well, yeah, it'll illuminate. And I can stop the Playout controller by pressing stop here, or I can press the Playout controller by pressing stop here. So I have two ways to stop it. But in starting, the only way to start the Playout controller is to do the play button here. If I click play right here, it simply plays whatever video is loaded into the player. So it looks like the Playout module is loading videos into the player one after another. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Lost you guys there. So let's get this desktop out of the whoops. Let's take this guy and put him back where he belongs. And we'll get that out of the way so that we can see everything there. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and click play, and we'll play it through, and you'll see some of the rough edges of the program. It's Tom Sinclair. This is video segment 1 of our Playout controller review. We're going to go for 15 seconds. Sometimes it's hard to figure out how to fill up 15 seconds. You can tell this is segment 1 because of this handy number. Hi, this is segment 2. Again, you can tell it's segment 2 by the handy number right there. And don't you like my colored backgrounds? Just trying to get something interesting in there. And this is again 15 seconds plus. Number 3 of our Playout controller review. 15 seconds of me. I mean, what more could you ask for but 15 seconds of me? We can change the channel anytime. Segment 4, 15 seconds of segment 4. Again, handy number in case you forget. We're killing 15 seconds. And the background music I like. It's one of my favorite songs. I don't think it's available on iTunes, whatever. Save the best for last. This is segment number 5 in our Playout controller review. 15 seconds of air. And this is going to be our last one. So that's it. Okay, and there it stops, and you actually have to click the stop button on that. Now, I know that was a little long, and sorry about that, but you could see one of the faults right off the bat was that with each of the 5 videos, about the first second of the video portion of that video file was delayed, and then fast forward to catch up. It seemed like the audio was on track all the way from 0 to the 15 seconds, but the first second or so of video was smushed. Now, you know, that may or may not be an issue. I was able to, let's see, let's go into, let me show you guys what I'm doing here. Let's see if we can clear, and then let's add in one file, add in number 6. Because number 6 seemed to be a good way to fix that problem until it's fixed properly. Oops, we got some extra ones there. Well, we'll leave those in. We might need them. In fact, let's move. What happened to number 3? He just disappeared, didn't he? All right, well, let's move number 2 back up above number 6, and we'll play, and you can see what the transition and difference is between 2 and 6. Play. Hi, this is segment 2. Again, you can tell it's segment 2 by the handy number right there. And don't you like my colored backgrounds? Just trying to get something interesting in there. And this is again 15 seconds plus. This is a test of a different type of module. I mean, not a different type of module, but a different type of intro where I gave myself about a second of black, faded into this shot, and then to leave the shot, we'll do the same thing. We'll turn off the overlay, and then we'll transition into black. And that seemed to work better. So little bug at that point for those folks that want to use it now. If you're recording new video, just need to put in a second or two at the very beginning and kind of give yourself that transition. And it's usable today like that. So there's a good workaround for you. Let's go back here. And I'll tell you what, let's do. I'm going to play that same thing again and then immediately switch back to this view so that you can see what's happening here in the status column right there. So let's tell this to play, and then we'll switch back to it. Hi, this is segment 2. Again, you can tell see the little sideways. I'm going to turn down that video for a second. But it is playing. You can see the clock down here at the bottom. Well, actually, that's the day clock. But you can see the status arrow right there to the right. It moved down to that one, down to the right. And it tells us we're playing video number 6, or this is the file that we're playing down here at the bottom. Whoops. You know what? You can't see me because when it switched to the next video, it switched to the next video. How about that? So even if you got off track for a second, okay, and we are now out, and we'll tell it play, stop. If we don't tell it stop, this module is still in motion. It's still in use. I mean, it's still playing. It doesn't have anything to play, but it's still playing. It's like driving your car into a wall and still, you know, with your foot on the accelerator. And as a result, if it's still playing, you can't do anything. You can't edit in here or do anything like that, or it'll throw out an error message. I think Martin got the same error message I got this morning, and it may have been because the player was still in the play mode. The Playout module was still in the play mode and not in the stop mode. So once you've got stop, you can play with all this to your heart's content. So the description field here allows you to go in and edit something. It also allows you to, clicking in there, you can add a file, add a command, add a file, add a folder, delete, insert a command, or insert a file. So description is a little bit of a misnomer because you can do a lot more than just add a description at that point. What did I click the? That's interesting. Okay, we'll have to look at that. The column for duration is editable. I can go in and change this 15 seconds to 10 seconds. And what it does is it means that even though I have a 15-second clip right here, it's only going to show 10 seconds of it before it goes back to the next clip. So let's show what that looks like. Hi, this is segment 2. Again, you can tell it's segment 2 by the handy number right there. That's 7 seconds, 8, 9, 10. This is a test of a different type of module. I mean, not a different type of module, but a different type of intro where I get. Okay, and we'll stop that. We'll go back here. So by editing this duration, I was able to tell a 15-second clip, don't play for 15 seconds, only play for 10 seconds. Now, that can have some unexpected results. If, for example, instead of having a second file here, let's delete this one. If you've got the studio or the broadcast version, and we're going to go deeper into that in just a minute, but if you have a command of some kind here, let's see, let's add a command. And we're going to add an API write overlay, what overlay? 3 on true. Get that right. Let me pull that over where you guys can see. Yeah, it'd help if I could spell. Okay, on true. So I've inserted that command. You notice that the duration of that command is 0 because it doesn't need any duration. It just needs to click on. So that when I do my playlist now, when we say play, hi, this is segment 2. Again, you can tell it's segment 2 by the handy number right there. And don't you like my colored backgrounds? Just trying to get something interesting in there. And this is again 15 seconds plus. And let's turn that out. But what happened was, since my duration was not the full time of the playlist, it was only 10 to 15 seconds. At the 10-second mark, instead of the video ending, because there was a second video after it, since there was no video after it, it then put in the overlay that I told it to from the API. I don't know that that's an intended function, but that's the way it's working right now, and it may need a little tweaking to kind of get it to where it needs to be. But the way it works now could have some interesting opportunities. Now, if we added a third file to that, and we can come in here and add a file, and let's add number 3 just for the sake of argument, and we got 4 and 5 by accident. Whoops, look at that. It started playing all by itself. That's a bug. Okay, let's take out that one. And we won't worry about number 5 for right now, because I think that should be blank, and it might even be blank. Let's see, where are we? There we go. The reason it was black there is I told the playlist, the player module, to stop, and it stopped. And so what you had was simply blackness, which was a blank player. So we've got a file number 2. We're putting on an overlay, and then we're going to file number 3. And we're going to adjust the duration of file 2 back to its 15 seconds. And then let's go to play. Hi, this is segment 2. Again, you can tell it's segment 2 by the handy number right there. And don't you like my colored backgrounds? Just trying to get something interesting in there. And this is again 15 seconds plus. Number 3 of our Playout controller review. 15 seconds of me. Not sure what is going to happen when it gets to number 5 right here. Save the best for last. No, there's number 5. Segment number 5 in our Playout controller review. 15 seconds of air. And this is going to be our last one. So that's it. Okay, and then we'll tell it stop. And now it kind of goes back to syncing with the time and adjusting the start to whatever time. Just for fun, and let's see if we can load this. And this is going to be located on my desktop. And it's going to be a 5-file demo with API and macros. I've made up some macros and some API calls to play those files with some of the overlays going off and on in between. And I just thought I'd let you take a look at that. And if you're watching live and you want to shoot me a question in the chat, I can look at your questions while this is playing. So let's tell this to play, and we'll see what happens. It's Tom Sinclair. This is video segment 1 of our Playout controller review. We're going to go for 15 seconds. Sometimes it's hard to figure out how to fill up 15 seconds. You can tell this is segment 1 because of this handy number. Hi, this is segment 2. Again, you can tell it's segment 2 by the handy number right there. And don't you like my colored backgrounds? Just trying to get something interesting in there. And this is again 15 seconds plus. Number 3 of our Playout controller review. 15 seconds. It was at that point that I told the overlay to turn itself off as one of the commands in the playlist. And now I've told it to put a different overlay on as one of the controls in the playlist. And I'll show you the playlist here. You can see we're on number 4, coming up to number 5, and it'll shift back, there you go, to the player for number 5, and it turned off the overlay. Review, 15 seconds of air, and this is going to be our last one, so that's it. And it just stops at the last frame right there. So we're going to tell it to stop. And one of the questions in the chat room says, can't you drag and drop files? And that's from David Stemper in Tennessee. David, it looks like at this point, from what I can tell, the drag and drop is simply a way of reordering files so that I can go in here and I can take this API write overlay 1 and move that down. You know, if I wanted to move it down here to the bottom, I can do that. And so I've moved that down. I could take number 2 and put it after number 4. So that's the drag and drop that I think is being referred to in the promotion about this. And another question says, what happens if you play one of the files in the player? Okay, well, let's do that. Let's queue up a file here. So we're going to say open. We're going to go to Playout Controller Videos. We'll play number 1 because we all know what number 1 looks like. And we'll go to Play on Take. So this is number 1. It's Tom Sinclair. This is video segment 1 of our Playout Controller. Looks like we had the same little glitch at the beginning. I'm going to stop that one. And the module is still specified. So when I say play, it's not going to have to shift to it, but it's going to play. It's Tom Sinclair. This is video segment 1. Yeah, so that may be in the file itself. Let's see if we, just for the sake of argument, let's go back to our playlist. Let's clear it. Let's add a file that was created somewhere else. Videos. Come on, gotta find something here. Something that's not created with VidBlaster is the key. Okay, this is, well, let's use the Powered by VidBlaster. That's a good one. And it looks like it added a couple of controls here again. Okay, well, let's go to play and see what we get.
Powered by VidBlaster.
Yeah, it looks like we got the same. Number 3 of our Playout. Same kind of stuttering there. 15 seconds of me. I mean, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? Goodness gracious. How do you stop this thing? Change the channel. There we go. Okay. So, obviously that needs a little bit of work, whether it's in the player itself, whether it's in the recorder, because I recorded those files earlier, or whether it's in the Playout module. That needs to be tweaked. But obviously, based on the file number 6 I showed you before with the lead-in of black and then I exit black screen, that doesn't become as much of an issue. I did have some experience in the first playtime. Let me switch back to this, where I could not get some of the API calls to work at all, and I couldn't get any of the macros to work at all. And so basically, what I did was I deleted them. And then I went back and added them again. And by doing that, I was able to get them working. I wasn't sure whether it was a misspelling on my part. Let's see, API write overlay 3 true on, and that would be proper one. I'm not sure whether it was a typo on my part or whether if I went in and tried to edit this, that somehow I destroyed the functionality of it. I'll have to test that some more and see. But I was able to make it work by definitely deleting it and then adding or inserting a command, and it worked consistently at that point. So that part works consistently. And the timing of the overlays, you know, one of the things that I think would be a really great use for this is if I wanted to put on all of my shows. I mean, all my shows are available on YouTube right now. You can go pick out the one you want. But let's say I wanted to run a 24/7 channel like Andrew Zarian does, or that Amnon Nissan does, or Stephen Haywood does, and I wanted to use something other than VLC because I wanted to do some things more than just play files in a list. Let's say I wanted to have an overlay that would, if I had an hour show, at the maybe at the half-hour point in that show, halfway through, I would have an overlay that would pop on and say, you know, coming up in 30 minutes will be blank, blank, blank. That is the title of the next show, so that if somebody wanted to hang around or come back later, they could. And then 5 minutes before the end of that video, I could have an overlay that came just in the corner where, you know, up in the top where it wasn't in the way of the video, and have it say, you know, stay tuned for, you know, Tom's chroma key explanation coming up in 10 minutes. That would be a great way that you could use the API overlay portion, the command portion of the Playout module, and I think would be really cool. At this point, you can't really do it because you can't. Let's go back to this guy for just a second. You cannot edit the time field. If you try to edit the time field, it errors out and you have to restart VidBlaster. You can edit the duration field, but that only, it has unexpected results and different results depending on whether that video is followed by another video or whether you've gone duration longer or shorter. I did one where I increased the duration, and so what happened was when it got to the last of the file and it still had seconds left in the duration, it simply showed the last frame of the video for the extra 4 or 5 seconds that I had added on there. Again, not a desired result, I don't think, but I guess if it's black and you wanted just to have black with the overlay showing. But I think it shortened up the following videos by the same amount, so that's not what you want to do. I'm looking through my notes here. Let's see. We had some good questions. Can I loop an entry for maybe 3 times via an API command? I don't know. I can loop an entry continually, and I can loop a group of entries continually, and I can loop some but not all. Let's go here. I can loop, let's see, let's just add the playlist again. So we're going to load our initial 6-person playlist. Where is that? Desktop. 5 file. That's 5 files, right? There we go. And I can tell it after number 3 to loop. Well, let's do it after number 2, because then we can show it to you. So we can play it. It's Tom Sinclair. This is video segment 1 of our Playout controller review. We're going to go for 15 seconds. Sometimes it's hard to figure out how to fill up 15 seconds. You can tell this is segment 1 because of this handy number. It's Tom Sinclair. 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 It's Tom. How about that for an unexpected result? So it took that first file and replayed it, or at least played the first couple seconds of it. Let's, if you've got some patience here with me, let's try it again. And what I've done is I've taken the loop command and I've put it now here on our 3rd video So we'll start it and then see.
Tom Sinclair. This is video segment 1 of our play.
And I'll just keep switching back and forth between them so that you can see.
15 seconds. Sometimes it's hard to figure out how to fill up 15
You can see right here that
Tell this is segment
the little
1 because this hand
right arrow, which is kind of like the play button. Oh,
This is segment 2.
now we're in number
You
2.
can tell it's segment 2 by the
And our loop button is in 3, which I think is going to tell it to go push 1 back up again.
in there. And this is again 15 seconds plus. It's Tom Sinclair. Hi. 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 It's Tom Sinclair.
Again, kind of an unexpected result. I would say don't use the loop function quite yet. It doesn't appear to be right. So we'll work on that one. And it may have been that I was using it in a way that it wasn't intended to be used, but doesn't look like it's working. But that's okay. That's okay. It's there, and it's going to work. And, you know, for those of you that had a playlist and you wanted to have your playlist loop, at some point in the future, you'll be the same thing, be able to do the same thing with the Playout module. Let's see if we've got some other questions here. One of the comments in the chat room is, this is a real beta. Yes, it is. It is a real beta. But it's exciting to see it. And I think when Mike released it, he did release it, not necessarily in the download section where his notes, but in the other section of the forum where there's been a lot of discussion about this. He did release it saying that it really wasn't ready for release, but he wanted to throw it out there. Excuse me. He wanted to throw it out there and get some comments and get some more direction about where it should go. So by all means, download it. Have a go at it. Remember my caution about your version 2, guys. If you've had your version 2 for a while and you don't know where your activation key is, you may want to go, kind of gently on that. But everybody else, download it, give it a shot. Go into the forum, voice your comments. If you're not a registered user, you probably are not going to be able to post in the existing comment section about the Playout controller. So, but at least you can make your, well, you can shoot me an email and I'd be happy to, if I agree with you, I'll post it. That's no problem. We can do that for sure. I think there's lots of possibilities with this guy. One of the possibilities that I was playing with earlier and didn't really have a chance to finish my playing, I'm going to clear this out for a second, was to simply have a list of commands so that you could have API calls or macros that could be executed on a pre-planned basis. Now, you would have to be able to edit the duration or the start time in order to do that. And so it's got lots of possibilities with that. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get that graphic off there. There are lots of possibilities for those folks that have more of a programming bent to them to get in and have this controller work as more than just a video controller and actually have it as a controller that can control lots of functions in VidBlaster, either for something that's completely automated or something that's just partially automated. And you wanted to have it, for example, if you want to have a certain number of macros execute at certain times, you could plan it for that. Or you could, you could click the Playout controller and tell it to play out a series of files to end up a show. So instead of actually to end the show and then save the recording. So there are lots of different ways, possibilities with that. I think people are going to find other uses for it besides that which it was intended for. This is going to be really good. It's going to be really good. Let me check my notes here and make sure that I've covered all the bases. Oh, yeah, one other just mild thing here. When you're in the player, the Playout module, and you're playing, I think I mentioned that you can stop by pressing stop there, but you can also, let me just drag this over so you can see right there, put it in the window. You can also, and in fact, let's just, well, I won't show you, I'll just tell you about it. You know, when you're playing, right here, play,
Tom Sinclair. This is
you can also pause. And so the pause function in the player works in the Playout module, the Playout controller as well. Excuse me, it's going to take me a while to get used to all these terms. So that definitely is interesting that the player works the same way. Adjusting duration. Oh, I know. When I added, we'll go back over here for a second. When I added, nope, didn't want to do that, sorry. We're going to load, we're going to add a folder. So we'll go into the folder and we'll add the contents of the folder. And you can see it's added 1 through 6. Not sure why that is. I think that's just an anomaly. We need to get that guy out of there. And if I were to go in, not through VidBlaster, but through, if I were to go in and edit one of these files, or if I were to replace it with a file by the same name, the controller would not pick up that the duration of the file was different. So if I took number 1, which now has a duration of 16 seconds, and I re-recorded it and gave it the same name, number 1, and it was now 20 seconds long, and used this same playout, this same playlist, file number 1 would stop after 16 seconds and go on to number 2. So it doesn't dynamically refresh the files based on them being changed somewhere else. And I actually found this out because I did just that. I did 1 through 6, 1 through 5, and then went back and edited them, or excuse me, erased them, recorded over them, and then later found out that they were a second or two different ways, and so they were not updated. The playlist portion of the Playout module was not dynamic in that sense. I think I've pretty well covered everything that I've discovered about this. Let me check again in the chat and see what questions we may have. Yeah, there's a chat comment that this might be considered not a beta, but an alpha. That could be true. That could be true. A couple of comments that I think are interesting. Andrew from Australia has suggested that a refresh function might be good, and that way VidBlaster would go in and kind of refresh itself on what files were available in that folder. And that would be good too if you deleted some files in the folder, or if you added files to the folder, that way the player, the playlist would be updated if you clicked refresh. That's a good idea. I like that. And he made the same comment that you need to set the time and duration of the clip. I agree with that one too. And Ovinus has asked about the transitions between the clips, and that's interesting. And that's one of the things that I kind of noticed, is that it was a little uncertain as to exactly what was going to happen. I think it went black for a second between one file and the next file, but I did notice that if there was an overlay on the screen, that overlay remained constant as it transitioned from file to file. And in my mind, that there might be a transition function of some kind that would allow videos to transition one to another. But we're in the alpha/beta stage. I think that's the whatever delta phase. Good comments, guys. I appreciate those a whole bunch. But this is going to be a feature that's going to get a lot of use. A lot of folks have waited for this in version 3. It's here. If based on what you see with me today, it looks like it's going to be ready for you and you've been holding off upgrading from version 2 to version 3, now is the time. Now is the time. I think this is very usable in the way that it's set up. With the caveat that the loop back function is not working at all. That's I don't see a workaround on that one. But the stuttering for the first second of the video, I think, having a video that takes that into consideration and just has a black screen or a fade in, that can work. So if you're interested in an upgrade, again, I'm a VidBlaster reseller. I'd be happy to help you with an upgrade. If you are in another country and want to find a reseller in your country, I'm in the U.S., obviously, by my accent. They go to vidblaster.com and check on the resellers list, and you can probably find a reseller close to you. If not, I'm happy to help you. But you might be able to get support in your own language if you find somebody. If you're watching us on YouTube, our website is thatvidblasterguide.com. If you have a question, you can shoot it to me, tom@thatvidblasterguide.com. We do provide unlimited support for our customers, both email support and telephone support. So if you'd like to become a customer, you can go to thatvidblasterguide.com, go to the store, and buy the VidBlaster package. If you need to make an upgrade, probably need to send me an email on that because that has to be handled manually. And if you have already bought it from somebody else but you want support from us, you can buy a support package. Those are there and available in the store as well. So I think we've covered all our bases. It's going to be interesting to see how this new controller, how it matures. Obviously, it's still in baby stages right now. We're still taking little baby steps. But it's great to see baby steps. This has been one that's been long awaited and I think has got a good foundation to move forward on. And it's going to be fun to watch it move forward. It's also going to be fun, as many of you already do, is to chime in with your suggestions of what you think might be beneficial features to be part of this new controller. It is a controller. The playlist controller. I'm still struggling with the terminology, but I'll get it right at some point. So stay tuned for us for more updates. You can get more information at the VidBlaster forum, forum.vidblaster.com. And I think I've about run out of what to say. Anyway, we'll be keeping tabs on this. If you have some ideas, shoot me an email, tom@thatvidblasterguide.com. Be happy to reply and respond and help you out. And I appreciate all of you that have sent emails. I'm way behind. Well, not way behind, but I'm almost a week behind in replying to some of them. So please be patient. We are getting to you. And if it's an urgent need, of course, we're replying to those right away. But some folks are saying, I'm thinking about a project in the future where I'd like to use the API to do this and maybe this. I'm not getting to yours as timely as I am to the folks that said, hey, I got something happening Saturday night and it's got to work. What do we do? And most of the time I'll say, we need to talk. We need to chat. So if I haven't replied to you, shoot me another email. Tell me, Tom, this is urgent, and I'll get back to you and we can do that. Anyway, if you're watching live, stick around for the after show. It's going to be fun. We've got hats and balloons. It's going to be really a blast. Otherwise, we'll catch you on YouTube. Be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll get a notice every time we upload a new one. And if you want to subscribe to us on Twitter, it's, I think, just the @ and VidBlaster guy. And you can catch all the notes there of what our upcoming shows are and what the subjects will be. It'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, let me let you go. And we'll see you, God willing, we'll see you next week.